Most gardeners are using wood ash completely wrong, and it's quietly destroying their soil without them realizing it. The mistake is simple: treating ash like a direct fertilizer and dumping it straight into the soil. That sounds harmless, but in reality, it can spike pH too fast, lock out nutrients, and leave plants struggling even when you're feeding them properly. What actually happens is this: instead of improving growth, raw wood ash creates imbalance. You get fast changes in soil chemistry, but not in a controlled way. That leads to weak uptake of nutrients, poor flowering, and inconsistent harvests. I've seen it repeatedly in backyard gardens where people think more ash equals better results. Before we go deeper, I want to show you how I make sure my soil is actually ready for anything I apply. I use a simple 4-in-1 soil meter that checks moisture, pH, temperature, and sunlight intensity in real time. Because if you don't know your baseline conditions, every amendment becomes guesswork. I'll leave the exact one I use in the description if you want to check it out. It helps prevent one of the biggest mistakes gardeners make: treating all soil the same when it clearly isn't. Now, once you understand your soil conditions, wood ash stops being a risky input and becomes a powerful biological trigger when handled correctly. And this is where the fermentation method changes everything. It starts with something most gardeners would never think to do: fermenting wood ash instead of using it raw. Raw wood ash is highly alkaline and reacts immediately when added to soil. That rapid reaction is what causes problems. But when you ferment it properly, you slow down that chemical intensity and make it biologically more usable. So, here's what I do in real garden conditions. I take a small amount of sifted wood ash, making sure it's nothing contaminated or mixed with trash, and add it to a bucket of water. I let it sit for several days, just giving it a stir now and then. Over time, the water becomes mineral-rich, but, it's much more balanced than if you were to apply raw ash directly to the soil. What you end up with is a diluted, mineral-infused solution that carries potassium, calcium, and trace elements, but without shocking the soil system. When applied correctly at the base of plants, I've honestly seen noticeable improvement in plant vigor, especially in fruiting crops like tomatoes and peppers. But here's the key detail most people miss. This only works if your soil pH is within a workable range. If your soil is already alkaline, even fermented ash can push it too far. That's why, honestly, measuring before applying anything matters more than the input itself. Now let's talk about what's actually happening in the soil when this works properly. Wood ash contains fast-acting minerals, but plants don't absorb minerals directly. They rely on soil biology and moisture movement. When you ferment ash, you're essentially preconditioning those minerals so they integrate more smoothly into the soil system instead of disrupting it. In one of my raised bed trials, I applied fermented ash solution to half the bed and left the other half untreated. The difference didn't show immediately in growth height, but within 10 to 14 days, the treated section showed stronger leaf color, more consistent flowering, and improved overall plant structure. That's not coincidence. That's improved nutrient availability through better soil balance. Now, before we go further, this is a good point in the video where I'll say this clearly. If you're serious about improving your soil instead of guessing, make sure you subscribe, because what we're talking about here isn't random gardening tricks. It's understanding how soil actually behaves when you interact with it correctly. Now let's move into something most gardeners get wrong when they hear natural fertilizer. They assume natural means unlimited. That's where problems start. Even something beneficial like fermented wood ash can become harmful if overused. I've seen gardeners repeatedly apply ash water every week thinking it will speed up growth. What actually happens is nutrient imbalance builds up slowly and plants start showing stress even though everything looks organic. In my experience, The correct approach is controlled application. I use small amounts, diluted heavily, and only during active growth phases. For most garden beds, that means every 2 to 3 weeks at most. In container systems, I use even less because nutrient concentration builds up faster in confined soil. Now here's where things start getting more interesting. Fermented wood ash doesn't just affect nutrients, it influences microbial behavior. When applied correctly, it creates conditions where certain beneficial microbes become more active, especially those involved in breaking down organic matter and cycling potassium. That's why plants often respond with improved vigor rather than just short-term greening. You're not just feeding the plant, you're influencing the soil environment around it. But again, this only works when moisture levels are stable. If soil dries out too much or becomes waterlogged, microbial balance shifts and the benefits drop off quickly. This is why I keep coming back to one simple point. Soil conditions always control input effectiveness. Now let's talk about a mistake I see constantly in real gardens. People combine wood ash with everything. They mix it into compost, throw it into manure piles and layer it into beds without understanding interactions. The problem is that wood ash is highly reactive. When combined incorrectly, it can slow down decomposition or alter microbial activity in unintended ways. For example, adding raw ash directly into compost can raise pH too quickly, slowing down the breakdown of organic material. That delays the entire composting process instead of improving it. Fermentation avoids this issue by pre-stabilizing the ash before it enters any biological system. Now here's how I use this method in practical gardening scenarios. In fruiting beds, I apply fermented wood ash solution during early flowering stages to support potassium demand. In leafy crops, I use it more sparingly because excess potassium can shift growth balance away from leaf development. In raised beds, I always apply it after checking soil moisture and pH. If the soil is already dry, I water first, then apply. If pH is already high, I skip it entirely. In hydroponic-style setups or controlled container systems, I reduce concentration significantly because nutrient swings happen faster in confined environments. This is not a universal recipe, it's a controlled tool. Now let's connect the bigger picture, because this is where most gardeners finally understand what's happening. Fermented wood ash is not a fertilizer replacement, it's a soil modifier. It doesn't feed plants directly in the traditional sense. It adjusts mineral availability, supports microbial activity, and helps unlock nutrients already present in the soil. That's why it feels like plants suddenly explode in growth when conditions are right. You're not adding more food. You're improving access to what's already there. So if your plants have been growing slowly, looking weak, or producing inconsistent yields, don't immediately reach for stronger fertilizers. Start by fixing soil balance, measure conditions, understand your pH, check moisture, then apply inputs like fermented wood ash in a controlled way that supports, not disrupts, the system. Because once your soil biology and chemistry are aligned, growth becomes much more predictable and much faster. If you found this useful, subscribe to Farmogic. This is where we focus on real, tested soil methods based on actual growing conditions, not recycled advice. And share this with someone still struggling with weak plant growth, because in many cases the solution isn't adding more, it's applying the right input in the right way at the right time.